Ragerr, welcome to, hopefully, welcome back to the Forsaken v Pillar Chase 2 comparison. What I have in front of you, on my left, I have a bunch of design and comparisons that I'm going to be putting within the Venn diagram on the right. On the left side, we have Forsaken. On the right side, we have Pillar Chase 2. And in the middle, we have Pelican, which is like the mix between the two. This is completely unscripted, by the way, so there will be lots of cuts because I stutter a lot and I have speaking issues. My fault, gang! I'm gonna be seeing it from a community type of way for the average player. Now, let's get this straight off the bat. The killer design has to go straight to, I think, most easily. Okay, this will get smaller, by the way, ignoring that. This should easily go between the two of them. From the purely cosmetic ways, easily both games have good killer design. They're both unique in their own way. They were able to make John Doe look cool in Forsaken, which is crazy because John Doe is literally just a default character. And in Pillar Chase 2, there's a bunch of characters that have cool designs. Aoni went from a literal low pixel blob to a genuine killer. Both games did a great job on the design of the killers. Oh, easily, right in the middle, killer design. The next thing that might go in the middle is the survivor design. That has to be another one that goes straight into Pelican. This is really opinionated on this one, whether or not you would prefer to see your avatar in game or whether you would prefer to see, you know, a pre-made one. Now, map design. Ignore that Godzilla's on the Forsaken side. I don't know why it's so huge right now. So by technicality, I have to give it to Forsaken. Even though there are more maps in Pillar Chase 2 and more designs, more uniqueness, like you have all the killers maps within the games, which is awesome, by the way. I feel like on a community standpoint, most people are going to lean towards Forsaken because Forsaken does not have any bias. There are bad characters on Pillar Chase 2 maps. I think if you get Nicolatus on the Pillars map, it's kind of GG because there's too many corners for people to be able to juke your dash. On a map design, since there's absolutely no bias in Forsaken, it has to go to Forsaken. The thing that we have next is skin designs. Now, for the skin designs, I have to broaden this up.
Technically, Forsaken has Survivor skin, so therefore it has to get the point automatically.
No, your Survivor skin in Pillar Chase 2 is just your actual skin. I actually believe that the skin designs have to go to Pillar Chase 2. There's just more. You can get the golden skins, you can get the diamond skins, and you can get the retro skins in Pillar Chase 2. In Forsaken, you can't get that yet. Maybe in the future they'll add some mastery and stuff like that, but as of right now, from my knowledge, there is not any of that. In some skins, for example, like the PCX one, I believe if you get the diamond skin, you get like the Chaos Emeralds, which is awesome. Pillar Chase 2 has to take that. Now, next up, I have to put the emote designs within Pillar Chase 2. Pillar Chase 2 has emotes on not only the survivors, but they have the emotes on the killers too, which some of them are hilarious. And Forsaken does not have that. Forsaken only has emotes on the survivors and the killers can't emote. There's just more in Pillar Chase 2. Survivor gameplay, let's be honest with each other. Let's just look each other within the eyes. Forsaken has to take it with the survivor gameplay. For the average player, there's just 10 times more to do in Forsaken. You can run around, you can use abilities, you can emote, and you can do so much more than you can in Pillar Chase 2. In Pillar Chase 2, all you can really do is run around. Forsaken has to take this because there's just more to Survivor than there is in Pillar Chase 2. Now, let's get into the next one, killer gameplay. Pillar Chase 2 has to take it within the killer gameplay. Everybody loves Pillar Chase 2 because they get to play the killers and they get to play these killers that they recognize. You know, all these references and all these killers which all have their own unique gameplay in some sort of way. I know Forsaken is early within the development, so it doesn't seem fair to give it to the Pillar Chase 2. We just have to. As of right now, maybe in the future I can come back to this. There's just more. There's more gameplay that you could do with Pillar Chase 2. There's more characters you can do with Pillar Chase 2. More uniqueness that can fit different type of play styles depending on what type of killer you are. Now, next up, the casual gameplay. This has to go to Forsaken. There is not a world where I believe that Pillar Chase 2 would ever get this casual gameplay. For the average casual player, they would much rather play as a survivor that can fight back or heal other people or build stuff or run around super fast rather than play as a survivor that can't do anything. If you compare the kill times of both games, if you get two-tapped by an MX at the start of the round in Pillar Chase 2, there's absolutely nothing fun about that. It just sucks. It's like, oh my god, now I have to spectate. But in Forsaken, that can't happen. Like, that literally can't happen. You can't get two-tapped at the start of the round. I just don't see a way that they would ever go with Pillar Chase 2. Comp gameplay would go towards Pillar Chase 2. A lot of people want to flex the fact that they're good at a character. If they put on the diamond skin, they want to show that they're diamonds. I mean, if you look on YouTube, you'll see there are like hundreds of videos on complete server wipes. More people would rather play Pillar Chase 2 to see these like server wipes and see these killers go crazy and kill all the survivors rather than in Forsaken where You don't really see as many server wipes. You will see it, but it's not as like, it doesn't feel as impactful as within Pillar Chase 2 because there's more survivors in Pillar Chase 2. Now consumables. Give consumables to Forsaken. You don't find an item every time on Forsaken, but just the fact that you really don't even need the items in the first place. So I have to give consumables to Forsaken. And mini games, it just has to go to Pillar Chase 2. There's no way that you would ever dream of putting it on Forsaken because Forsaken only has one. There's only a single mini game to Forsaken. And while yes, I will admit it's a really fun mini game and kind of really unique, on Pillar Chase 2, there are a lot of maps that have unique mini games to them. There are some where it's just press a button and rotate the wheel. Even that is still more. So obviously the game that has more designs, and since Forsaken has taken 10 trillion decades to update, no flame, Pillar Chase 2 has to take the point, which by technicality puts the Pillar Chase 2 within the lead.
How typical. The guy that says he likes Pillar Chase 2 more. Of course he gives it more everything.
No. How to improve both? Well, let me just put this plain out and simple. Forsaken is probably the more enjoyable game for the average player. Even though Pillar Chase 2 won the list by technicality, most people, when they play the game, they would much rather play Forsaken. Because in Forsaken, you have abilities. There's a lot of unique mechanics with survivors and characters. And it's really fast to get killers since there's only 6 people per server, I believe. Or is it 7? You could play more killer and you could still have fun on Survivor. Let me just be completely real by saying this. Pillar Chase 2 Survivor, that's why most people don't like Pillar Chase 2 as much as Forsaken. There's a chance that they can get 2-shot within the start of the round and there's nothing they could do. And they have to watch for the entire match, and that sucks because they don't have any abilities, they don't have nothing. Especially with characters like PCX. The reason why everybody complains about PCX, and people literally were in my comment section saying, I quit Pillar Chase 2 because of PCX, is because when the only thing you could do in Pillar Chase 2 is run, and you have characters that can just run you down, what do? Most people could say,
oh, well, you know, just juke them.
That's where the map design comes in. If it's not a good map for juking, it's really hard to do said thing. And another big thing, these players are younger players. They're not going to be sitting there thinking,
yes, I need to perfectly juke out PCX's little dash. Oh, I got that. I got his dash. I listened for the breathing.
No. That's why I said it leans more towards competitive gameplay, because a lot of players are like, PCX isn't really that overpowered once you really understand on how to counter him. But for the average casual player, they're like, PCX is overpowered because he just runs me down and that's all I can do. I have a fix. I'm going to be honest with you, but it would be completely changing the entire core aspect of the game. If I can make a chase game, which I don't know how to develop in any sort of way.
Development groups hit.
Don't come to me. You're not getting paid. I have no money. I'm poor. Unless there's any HUDs watching the video. They complete redesigns of the map. You need to have ways to juke out the killers more in these maps, or ways to hide from the killers more in these maps. Making maps more juking based would help out the average casual game player. Or honestly, you can stay where you are right now, because I mean, the game isn't done. I feel like Pillar Chase 2 will always have its own niche, and the niche right now is competitive gameplay. Everybody wants to be the best killer. If you want to make Pillar Chase 2 a little bit more unique and cooler, adding a ranked system would kind of bring out the community a little bit more. Just imagine on how much people would grind to be a high rank. I want to be the #1 MX player. So they just do nothing but play MX and they try their hardest to keep grinding. And if they lose matches, they lose a lot. Other than that, Pillar Chase 2 has it figured out. They have good skin designs, they have good emote designs, they have good killer gameplay, they have good competitive gameplay, they have good minigames. Their map design is very weak. Their survivor gameplay is literally only running around, which is okay. And their casual gameplay is almost non-existent. Nobody wants to sit there for 30 minutes to play survivor. No, they want to play killer. Let's be real. The only reason they're playing there is for killer. And the consumables, Pillar Chase 2 is supposed to feel like a horror game, a horror chase game, and it does do that. So I'm not too upset about the consumable. And of course, everything within this is just design. So I'm happy with that. It's good. How do we fix up Forsaken? Now, there's a lot to Forsaken. I'm going to be honest with you. They have good map design. There's no bias for any characters. It's great map design. Survivor gameplay, perfect. I mean, you get to play as survivors, you have these abilities, it's super fun, you have emotes, you can chill with friends, it's awesome. Casual gameplay, perfected. Let's be honest, right? Everybody loves the game. They love playing it for the killer. They love playing it for the survivor. They just love it in general. And the consumables are just there. They perfected the consumables where you don't need them to survive, but if they're there, it's just help. The only nitpick that I would ever put in is on the map design. Some of the maps are a little too big, where some survivors will just sit in the corner the entire match, and it's kind of boring for the kill. Now, skin design, they have like basically nothing to show off mastery in the game other than levels, and that's kind of lame. Emotes, they don't have any emotes on the killers, so they can add emotes to the killers. And even if they never do, I mean, it is what it is. Even if they don't add those things, it's not taken away from Forsaken. Killer gameplay, the only reason why Pillar Chase 2 has this right now is because Forsaken has less. As Forsaken grows, I believe they'll have more killer gameplay and more different type of architects. So for right now, I mean, we have to give it to Pillar Chase 2, but it probably will go in the middle eventually. Gameplay, I don't think they're going for a competitive gameplay, but if they did want to, all they would need to do is either add skins and mini games. Again, the game is early in development. It's gonna have less than mini games. It's gonna have less than Pillar Chase 2. And of course, everything in the middle is perfectly done by both sides. So what's the final verdict? Forsaken has won the comparison. The average player would rather play Forsaken. Even though Pillar Chase 2 has more points, Forsaken has taken it because more people are going to enjoy it. On my own opinion, I prefer Pillar Chase 2. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. It really does help me out. And let me know if you want to see anything more of this. Like critically thinking of characters on each of the games, right? I could do like analyses. I hate that word. Analysis. I could do analysis on each of the characters in each game if y'all wanted me to. I genuinely could. You are all loved people. Please remember that. You are all loved people. Big thank you to all the members of this channel. Real quick, I'm gonna go through them. Big thank you to Professional Trollers. Big thank you to Whoop. Big thank you to Super Sigma Diddy 115. I think 115 is a Call of Duty element. Big thank you to Loser Failure 2999. Remember, you are loved. And finally, big thank you to Vex. You're all incredible members of the channel, and I can't thank y'all enough. Remember, y'all are all loved people, and have a great day.